bring forth. Now listen, Hezekiah not only knew that he could not bring forth, he also knew that there were reasons for him not to be able to bring forth. In fact, he gave one reason. And so what I will be doing tonight is focusing mainly on why Christians cannot bring forth, even though we have been blessed to bring forth. We can't bring forth in our ministry. We can't bring forth in our homes. We can't bring forth in our job. You know, I read some interesting stories tonight, and I prayed that, Lord, as from tonight, I'll be bringing forth. You know, Elijah served God, and he picked up Elisha. Elisha studied everything that Elijah did. Elijah performed 16 miracles. Elisha performed 32. He brought forth, not even at the level at which Elijah brought forth. He brought forth way beyond. Elijah picked up Gehazi. Are you hearing me? And Gehazi was to be like Elisha was to Elijah. And listen, he invested this man just like Elijah invested him. But listen, Gehazi never brought forth. In fact, right from the training, you could see that Gehazi had no capacity to bring forth. In 2 Kings chapter 4, that's one of the most favorite stories that I read in the Bible. The Shunammite woman's son died. And I guess Elisha must have felt, I have trained you long enough. This is the time to explode and bring forth. Here is my rod, the same rod that I use to do things. Take the same rod and go to where the woman, the child of the woman lay, and bring forth. Gehazi got there. The Bible said, he said, no sound, no hearing. And he came back. Let me also give you one more example. The disciples must have studied Jesus, the way he did his miracles and everything that he did. And listen, they must have been convinced that what they were waiting for was an opportunity for them to bring forth. May you never fail when God gives you the opportunity to bring forth. Matthew 17, they brought a lunatic son now. And the Bible said, the man said, your disciples could not cure him. They couldn't bring anything forth. Let me say to you before I tell you the reasons why people don't bring forth. Bringing forth is a 3-stage process. And I want you to listen. Number 1 is conception. Number 2 is carrying a pregnancy. Number 3 is birthing. If you want to bring forth, you will conceive. If you want to bring forth, you will carry that which the Lord has planted through you. If you want to bring forth, you will now birth that which you carry. Now, children of God, don't go through this process. Let me take the first one. Number 1, conception. I mentioned it while talking. When God wants to do something in the life of any child of his, the first thing he does is to plant a seed. When the seed is planted, that's what we call conception. He took Abraham out in Genesis 13 verse 14. He said, walk through the land, the length and breadth. As far as you see, it is yours. If any can count the dust of the sun, he will count your seed. What was he trying to do? Make Abraham to conceive. Abraham needed one more pushing. Genesis chapter 15 verse 5. He brought him out. He said, look at the star. Anybody who can count the star can count your seed. And when Abraham went through that two processes, conception took place in Abraham. You know, in our days, the Lord may not be taking us out anymore to look at the star and at the sun, but every sermon we listen to, every testimony we listen to is the Lord planting a seed. Many Christians at the beginning of the year, they conceive, just like a woman conceives. The next stage, because it's a three-stage process, is carrying what the Lord has securely planted into our hearts. And that's the stage of pregnancy. And listen, this is where many people mess it up. The Lord will have planted the seed he will want us to carry. And when we carry the seed, what is the Lord expecting? That we nourish the seed and maintain the seed for as long as life will require for us to come to a place of bringing forth. Many children of God have things they have conceived in their heart, but they cannot carry the pregnancy well. And you know, this evening the Spirit of the Lord said to me, Sarah and Abraham carried their pregnancy for Isaac in the physical 9 months, but they carried it in the spiritual for 25 years. They carried it. They nourished the seed. They maintained the seed that God planted on one day that he just came to their house in Genesis chapter 18 and said to them, Sarah, according to this time of life, they carried it for 25 years. The first stage of bringing forth is conceiving. The second stage is carrying. And many people are not good at carrying. And that's why many times, many children of God cannot even bring forth. Let me give you another example of somebody who was good at carrying that which the Lord planted on his inside. Caleb. Caleb said, this word you spoke 45 years ago. He said, and I kept it in my heart. He nourished and maintained it until the Lord brought him to the point of bringing forth. Now, if you look at the life of Hezekiah, I believe that God must have taken him through conception. I believe that the Lord must have taken him through pregnancy. I believe the place where the Lord was now taking him to was the place where he will birth that which the Lord had planted in his heart and he had carried for some years. January, the beginning of this year, the Lord planted some things in my heart. I've carried them. This is the 11th month of the year. By the 12th month of the year, I know I will bring forth. I mean, before the year ends, I know that I will bring forth. It has been planted. I conceived. I carried the pregnancy. I know that I will bring forth. Listen, children of God, the problem with the children of God, some of us conceive well. Some of us